All right, we'll go ahead and jump in here. We are on page 156 in our book, Sri Sarada Devi and Her Divine Play. And the chapter is Her Pilgrimage. And we were talking about the Kalpataru, we're talking about Vrindavan and visiting Varanasi. And she was wearing the master's gold amulet. She got walked by her hand by the master. And so he's appeared to her a couple of times in physical form, even post-death. So it's quite a lovely scene going on. And we pick up here. Ramakrishna had visited Vrindavan in 1868 and experienced visions relating to various episodes of Krishna's life. At Vrindavan, Holy Mother was often in the mood of Radha and experienced spiritual ecstasy, just as the gopis, the cowherd girls of Vrindavan, had searched for Krishna in the groves of Vrindavan. Holy Mother wandered alone to the bank of the Jamuna as if searching for her beloved Lord. Her companions would find her and bring her back to their residence. Later, she said to a devotee, "I am Radha." Orthodox Vaishnavas circumambulate Vrindavan in bare feet and visit the spots connected with Krishna's life. Holy Mother and her party followed this tradition. It took them 15 days. Holy Mother closely observed the banks of the Jamuna, the groves, the trees, the temples, the mendicants, and the scenic views of Vraja. From time to time, she stopped and could not go on. Yoganma guessed that Holy Mother was having divine visions. When she asked Holy Mother why she had stopped, Holy Mother kept quiet and only said, "Let us go." Swami Yogananda left a vivid account of Holy Mother's stay in Vrindavan. So here we get a first-hand account of this. It's quite lovely though, because this hints at sort of an experience of coming into yourself. There comes a point in our spiritual life where it leaves the world of premise and imagination and longing, and actually begins to take on a reality for us. It's when we begin to slip into that silent center within. And it's a very beautiful time for the soul, because in that silence that you now are learning to practice, that you're learning to rest into, to settle into, in that quiet, sacred space of the heart, when you sit there, you begin to become aware of things, not being taught things, not being told things, not reading things. It comes up through the soil of yourself. It comes up and you realize that. I guess that's why they use the word realization. You become aware of truths that have always been there but have never been recognized by you. You've never seen them. And so I see Holy Mother here going to this holy space, this holy city, this Vrindavan, and really we could say, just like we say the Garden of Eden or the Kingdom of God is within, really the true Vrindavan is within. The play of Krishna happens here. The Gita, the story of the Gita, Kurukshetra, oh, thank you for letting me know. The cookies coming in. That within here is Vrindavan. It's the playroom of Krishna and Radha. The absolute unchanging and the Shakti, the changing world. It's the sporting realm of that. It's where the Gita is actively happening. Kurukshetra, the field of action. The body, your body, is the field of action. It's this battle as such going on between the unity that is your nature and the diversity that you've adopted by identifying yourself with the changing, and not knowing the unchanging. And so as Mother is going into Vrindavan, she's beginning to see, I am Radha. I am the companion of the beloved. In a real way, she's seeing this. And in that same sense, as we come into our spiritual life, as we begin to return to the Vrindavan, to the heart, to the kingdom of God, to Eden. When we find ourselves back in there, these truths about our nature come to light, and we see the ego before us, and we understand that it's not who we are, and slowly diminishes its effect. For a long time, it's just a diminishing effect. But as we more and more identify with the divine, that we chain our ego not to be concerned about body mind, but we place our ego in the interest of knowing God. I am a devotee of God. I'm a lover of people. I'm a servant. I'm the dust of the devotee's feet. All these ways of taking the ego and focusing it in a positive way, because the master says it's very difficult for ordinary folks to completely efface the ego, that it's almost impossible. And so he tells us to make that ego the lover of God or the servant of God, and to practice in that way. And so as that ego begins to become more translucent, more transparent to us, as we see its nature of unreality, and we sit in that beautiful shrine within and just imbibe that presence of our beloved, we see Vrindavan, we see the Kurukshetra. You begin to see those pieces. You begin to understand that you are the scriptures. That the scriptures came from you, and that their whole story is a story about you and about what your inner world is, and the fight and the long battle and the long journey that you've undertaken in order to come home, to return to that peace. So it's wonderful to see this happening for the mother in of course, a metaphorical way. She's actually in Vrindavan and actually on pilgrimage, but it's not accidental that she went there as having these experiences. Her very life is a metaphor of truth, because she's an incarnation of the divine. And so in her experience is an echo of the experience that we're having as we grow in our spiritual life, and as we recognize our nature, and as we begin to see some of these things that aren't apparent to us initially about our nature and about the way things are put together inside. So Swami Yogananda here having this wonderful, wonderful firsthand experience. We saw Holy Mother. We saw how Holy Mother, even in the midst of her intense grief at the passing away of the Master, fully realized his divine grace. There it is. You see your first clue to fully realize the divine grace of your beloved. That's the first step, because that's what allows you to silence the mind, to silence your karma, to let go of your burden, to let go of your wrong identity. It's a full knowledge of the grace, the extent of the love of your beloved, of your divine beloved. Mother fully realized his divine grace and presence at all times. There's the key to Vrindavan right there. To fully accept, to fully embrace the divine grace and presence, and to never forget it, to be constantly in that state. That's the key to the gate of Vrindavan, to the kingdom of the divine within. We thought of ourselves as helpless orphans, but Holy Mother's love became our anchor. See, so on our own journey, it's like we may feel ourselves as helpless orphans. We have our own words for it, but each one of us feeling helpless, feeling like, I have to do this alone? Why is nobody helping? Why can't I see these things? How come I can't silence my mind? How come I'm a lousy meditator? How come I keep falling into the same cycles over and over again? So it's the love of the Divine Mother, the very name of our divine chosen ideal, whatever that might be. We can plug that in here. So the love of Holy Mother's love becomes our anchor, or Buddha's love becomes our anchor, or Jesus's love becomes our anchor. They're all the same face, or same being, with many different faces. And so we recognize that love. So this is what you're doing. You're anchoring yourself in the divine love of the Holy Mother, so that you can come to a full awareness of her grace and a constant remembrance of her of that divine presence within, and you yourself will visit the true Vrindavan of the heart, the kingdom of God. At Vrindavan, Holy Mother had many spiritual experiences. One day, her women companions found her absorbed in a deep samadhi. They uttered the name of the Lord in her ears and tried to bring her mind down. I repeated the name of Sri Ramakrishna with all my strength. This is the Swami. I repeated the name of Sri Ramakrishna with all my strength. This is the key. You know, the number one most important thing in spiritual life, to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, all of your soul, all of your mind, and all of your strength. So we see here Swami Yogananda saying, I repeated the name of Ramakrishna with all of my strength. At that, the mother seemed to return to the ordinary sense plane. During such periods of ecstasy, her manner of speech, her voice, her way of taking food, her way of walking, and her general behavior were exactly like those of the Master. We have heard that in deep meditation, the worshiper and the worshipped become one. That is the truth. That's the reality. That is your destiny. You will know this, and you will see this. We have heard that in deep meditation, the worshiper and the worshipped become one. The scriptures mention a spiritual state known as Tadatmyam Bhava, being at one with God. We have read in the Bhagavata how the gopis, unable to bear separation from Krishna, became so deeply absorbed in the thought of him that for the moment they forgot their own individualities and behaved as though they were Krishna. Divine transport. This is the state of a normal human being, of a healthy human being. This is the state of living. This is the state of the moment for those who touch God within, who understand or realize, see what they are in themselves, and why you have been worth every visit of the incarnations and all of their suffering to try and reach you, to try and touch you. It's not your lower self they're coming for. It's the divine gems that lie hidden in your heart that you're diving deep to find yourself. Those are the things that God is chasing in you. That's his own self, her own self, as such. In the same manner, Holy Mother too forgot her own separate existence and acted just like the Master. So we've heard many times the mother, says, "Am I different from the Master?" And how the Master often said, "Am I different from the mother?" Vivekananda said, "Am I different from the Master?" They are all the same incarnation. It's just that the story of love was so big this time, the expression of love was so big this time, that God came in three, in three simultaneous incarnations. And if you look at the Holy Mother, and you look at Sri Ramakrishna, and you look at Swami Vivekananda, you see a full manifestation in each one of them. You see enough to just be brought to your knees in love of God in each one of them. But the three of them together, my goodness, what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Maharaj, can you go over that one more time?
Yes, maybe. that God has come this time, in a single incarnation in three persons. That this time when she came as Vivekananda, as Holy Mother, Sri Ramakrishna. And in each one of those lives, you see the life of a full incarnation, a full manifestation of God. And yet when you take those three manifestations together, what a beautiful, well-rounded image you get of divine love. The Master with his renunciation, the Master with his just absolute determination that at any cost, to find his nature. You see in his wonderful, wonderful renunciation in him. In Vivekananda, what a heart of wisdom, what a heart of knowledge. Everything he said just the right way. It's so satisfying to read his words, because every one of them is just an arrow that hits the very target in your heart. And his zeal, his faith, the way that he stayed in the moment all the time, came to the United States, didn't have a plan, had no money, had no idea how he was going to do what he's going to do. And when it all fell apart, when he got to Chicago, he just sits down on the curb because he doesn't know when or where the Parliament of Religions is happening. And it just happens to be the exact place he needed to sit down. So the wife of the head of the parliament comes out of her house and sees him sitting on the curb and directs him. But that faith that he had, that just walking in the divine light, just to go and teach and teach and teach, that he is the manifestation of the word, of the teaching of the beloved. And then Divine Mother, my goodness, as we just see, loving the whole world as her children and just sparing nothing to bring every one of them back. Such a kindness, irrespective of nationality, irrespective of caste, irrespective of religion. That the Divine Mother, you see in her life, service, 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 because she loved. She loved. And so you take all those aspects together and you see that God used an incarnation of three to manifest the one, himself, herself, in a fuller way, in perhaps the fullest of ways, from what the world has seen so far. And that falls in line with what we were saying about all of the incarnations are of the same person, the same self is incarnated, just different names at different times, but all the same self. And that each time bringing a wider and deeper perspective of the teachings, that there was no intention for each one to be discrete and for little tiny religions to start up around each one. That's how we misunderstood it, because we're ruled by ego. But in the divine mind, in the incarnation mind, there is no division. There is no separation. Ego is minimized and sometimes non-existent. And so we see that unified being in three this time, that this is the culmination of a series of incarnations throughout time. And what a great fortune it is to be able to be so close to seeing this. We're a few years too late to have seen it. But I think we have a bigger advantage now anyway. Because if we were there when Thakur was there, what would we know about him? We would only know about him what we heard in the room with him. We would have no books to read. We would not have Vivekananda's 9 volumes of literature to study. We would have just a bare thimbleful of the whole story. And so would we have been able to know who he was? Would we have been able to understand his message, even to the small degree that we understand it now? But now we've got 9 volumes of Vivekananda. We've got the Gospel and the Holy and the Great Master, and we've got this book here on the Divine Mother, plus hundreds of other writings of people that experienced their lives. And so now we're kind of the first generation, or maybe second generation, who knows, who counts generations, but we're amongst the early folks. We are the early Christians. We are the early Hindus, before the institutions, before the traditions. We are the creators of the new traditions. And I think this time it's going to happen without institution. This time I think it's going to happen amongst individuals. It's a grassroots inspiration this time. And that all of us can use whatever institution is helpful. But we are not in need of institutions this time. Now it is you and Mother, you and Father, you and the Beloved. You're set for freedom. You're set for freedom. Holy Mother, too, forgot her own separate existence and acted just like the Master, feeling her oneness with him. When I asked her some complex questions about the spiritual matters shortly after her states of samadhi, she replied from a God-intoxicated mood, very much like Sri Ramakrishna. That is, the same manner characteristic of the master, even using his same easy style of expression with metaphors and parables. We were surprised to see the spirit of Sri Ramakrishna united with hers. It was unique. We then realized that the master and the mother were one in essence, though appearing in separate forms. Is it not said that in the scriptures, Lord, thou art man, thou art woman? The master told me many times that there was no difference between him and the mother. On one occasion, at Kalababu's Grove, Holy Mother passed nearly 2 days in a superconscious state. A great transformation came over Holy Mother after that experience. Henceforward, she was seen to remain always immersed in bliss. You see, all of this is metaphorically pointing to your own realization. Here you're seeing the stages of that samadhi, the stages of that knowing, to understand your sameness with the incarnation, your sameness with the divine. As slowly that ego dissolves and betrays the oneness to you, shows you this nature, then that love, that bliss becomes apparent to you, and you start living in that. It starts informing your every moment. It's continual as long as you place your mind in the shrine, as long as you place your awareness in the shrine of the heart. She passed nearly 2 days in a superconscious state. A great transformation came over Mother after that experience. Henceforward, she was seen to remain always immersed in bliss. All her sorrow, all of her grief, all of her feeling of separation from the Master vanished, and a serene, blissful mood took their place. This is what will happen for you. Not 1,000 years from now, unless you dilly-dally. But if you're sincere and you're earnest in your practice, I tell you, I will not lie to you. This will be yours in this life if you want it. If you sit and do your practice, if you guard your mind through the day, if you chant your mantra at every moment as much as you possibly can, and when you forget, you just bring it back again in the moment, always returning to the name. This will be your experience. You see here, all of your sorrow, all of your grief, all of your feeling of separation from the Master will vanish. And in its place, a serene, blissful mood, just self-satisfied in the heart, needing nothing from the senses, asking nothing from the mind, just simply being aware that all is as it should be, and knowing that absolute peace. She sometimes behaved like a simple, innocent girl. Sometimes she expressed an eagerness to visit the various temples of Vrindavan for darshan, to see the deity, or to visit holy spots on the banks of the Jamuna associated with the divine sport of Krishna and the gopis. She was then in such a blissful state of mind that at times her yearning for Krishna's presence and her utterance of his name with intense love reminded us of Radha. I have heard from her women companions that the mother at times spoke frankly of herself as Radha. She passed her time in constant meditation and japa, and often went into ecstasy, remaining forgetful of herself for hours together. What a wonderful thing to read before meditation. What a wonderful thing to read. Just drop yourself into the middle of that scene. Such a thing. Such a thing. In contrast to her many years of confinement in Dakshineshwar, Shyampur and Kasipur, Holy Mother moved freely around the temple city like a happy girl. Yes, she's graduated in a sense, Thakur has taken and given to her all of the responsibility for the teaching and for the raising up and for the spreading of the truth. Now she's released from all of that limitation, all of that structure. It's like a brahmachari becoming a swami. Suddenly free of all of those authoritarian helps to your discipline and helps to your self-control and helps to your ego busting. Suddenly it's all up to you. You're free. You step out and play like a child here, like a happy girl. She took long walks with Lakshmi, Yogan, and Latu on the sandy banks of the Jamuna. She often went from one temple to another and attended worship or vesper services. One day she saw a corpse decorated with flowers and garlands being carried to the cremation ground. Yogan Ma recalled, "When we saw that funeral procession, Holy Mother remarked, 'See how blessed this person is to die in holy Vrindavan. I came here to die, but haven't had even a trace of fever. And yet how old I am. I have seen my father and my husband's elder brother, both of whom died long ago.' We laughed and said, 'Indeed, you have seen your father. Tell us, who does not see one's father?' In those days, she talked like a child." One day, Holy Mother went to visit Radha Raman Temple in Vrindavan, which is dedicated to Krishna. In a vision, she saw Nishtarini Devi, a devotee of the master, fanning the deity with a shamara, a yak's tail. After returning to her residence, she said to Yogan Ma, "Yogan, Navagopal's wife is very pure. I saw her fanning the deity." Holy Mother later related the following incident concerning Golap Ma that occurred when they were in Vrindavan. Our Golap's mind was perfectly pure. In Madhavji's temple, Krishna's temple at Vrindavan, somebody's baby had soiled the floor. Everyone remarked about it, but no one made a move to clean up the spot. When Golap noticed this, she tore a strip from her fine cloth and cleaned the spot with it. The other women said, "Since she is cleaning it up, it must have been her baby." I said to myself, "Listen to what they say, O Madhavji." Some others said, "No, these are holy women. They are doing it for the sake of others." Now, this is very interesting here. You see how you see things based on the condition of your own mind. You see that? Here, God herself was cleaning up this mess after that child, which in itself, if you recall, Mother said, "Who is it that will clean up your mess? Is it not your mother? I am your mother. Of course, I will clean up your mess. You are my child." And so it's not accidental that now this story is being told, that some random child, because all children are hers, all people are hers, some random child has messed on the floor, and then her companion goes down and cleans it up with her own sari, tearing her own sari to clean up the mess. And people who watch it, people who see it, you and I, as we sit here looking at the truth, as we look and hear these things of truth, we will only be able to see things through our karma. Some of us will see selfishness. Some of us will see, this story or that story, or, "Oh, that can't be true," or whatever that means, and have our own attitude for it. This is why we purify the mind through the name of God. This is why we do our practice, so that at some point we will see this moment as God, this moment as beloved, and be lost in the same way Holy Mother was lost in that samadhi. We'll understand at last, we'll know at last that we are the child who messed on the floor. And it is our mother, Sri Sarada, who had her companion clean up after us. And in
Swami,
our...
are you
Yeah.
reading? Or are you commenting right now?
I'm commenting.
Oh, it's a very good comment. Continue, please.
Yes, it's that knowing, that I mean, this is just so exciting. This is the thing. This is where we're going. Oh my God, surely, that has to catch fire in us. That has to light the fire in us. That this is the reality. This dream, this fuzzy, opaque world that you've lived in. This world of hard things that you can't touch and see through, or only seem to touch and see. That these obtuse objects, these complete misunderstandings that come only from seeing everything through a body, that these things will vanish, and the beautiful things that all of these things are for become the primary. We don't see this world primary anymore, with these stupid doors and these cabinets and these houses and boxes that we live in, running around scurrying like animals. We break free from that. We see the dream as a dream. We know its infinite story of love, and we see that first in everything and everyone. We walk everywhere drunk on this love, drunk on this understanding of God, everywhere perfect, always present. Impossible for you to lose, impossible for you to be separated from. This is what this is about. This is what this life is for. Forget everything else that you've got on your agenda. This is what your life is for. This is who you are. This is your gift to the world. This is the highest manifestation of you that you can possibly come to. And it's at your feet. It's being described right here in front of us, tantalizing us. Who will come? Who will come? Who will come? What do you want? What are you looking for? Oh my goodness. No, these are holy women. They are doing it for the sake of others. Holy Mother recalled, in Vrindavan, Yogan and I used to repeat the mantra for long hours with a great joy. Flies would sit on our eyes and lips and make sores, but we were not aware of it. That's that whole talking this world with all of its, its highest beauty falls like dust in a split second of seeing the divine behind it. We come to realize that we are sitting in a world with flies on our lips and our nose chasing our vices, which are piles of manure. We come to see it. But see, Mother here in this state, they're enjoying the presence of God. None of these things matter. The unreality of all of them is apparent to them. One day I prayed to Radha Raman, Lord, please take away my fault-finding nature. Please, 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 take away my fault-finding nature. May I never see other people's blemishes. On another occasion, the mother said, formerly I too used to notice others' faults, and then I prayed to the Master, and through his grace got rid of this habit. It is human nature to see defects. You should learn to appreciate virtues. Man is no doubt liable to err, but you must not take notice. If you constantly find fault with others, you will see fault alone. You won't see the beloved. You'll see only faults. And this is important within yourself also. This is how you learn that. Because once again, it's a matter of grace, right? She says right there, through his grace, I got rid of this habit of seeing faults. Because that grace puts us in awe. That grace makes our own fault finding a hideous thing to us. Because we realize that from the comfort of the mother's arms, how could we deny that to anyone else? How could we act any differently toward anyone else than the way that we are being treated by the Divine Mother? The way we have been so fully accepted, all of our faults forgotten, not even mentioned. This is why it's so important to know the name, to repeat it constantly, to establish yourself in the heart, to do all of the work necessary to discipline yourself so that you can see the difference between mind and self, body and self, body and mind, so that things that do fall away can be allowed to fall away without remorse, without trying to run after them and grab them, letting them fall and turning away from them to the light that's within you, to finding that love that is you, finding that wisdom that is you. It's not conditional. It's not based on circumstance. It's you. And it's freely available in infinite quantities for you to share and spread for all the days that you hold on to this body. That's what we're for. That's who we are.
Excuse me, Swami.
Yes, sir.
I had a remembrance of a metaphor um, that when the caged bird is finally leaves the cage, it doesn't return for any of the scraps that are left behind on the floor of the cage.
Yes. No, that's absolutely right. It's just that joy of freedom. That joy of freedom. That's what Thakur says, that he would just swim in this ocean of bliss like a fish in the ocean that had been let out of a fishbowl. Just freedom, 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 freedom. Wonderful. Thanks, that's cool. That's right. At Ramakrishna's command, Holy Mother began her spiritual ministry there at Vrindavan. One day the master appeared and asked her to initiate yogin. She was a little perplexed and embarrassed. She thought, what is this? What will people think? Everyone will comment that Mother has started to make disciples. She ignored the vision, considering it to be a product of her imagination. But the master appeared again over the next 2 days. On the third day, the master said, I have not initiated him. You must initiate him. He even told her the mantra to give. Thakur is very much alive, telling her. You see her because of her intense practice and her watchfulness of mind. Anything that even sniffs of a possibility of egoism, she rejects. And so even this coming from a direct vision telling her, you must initiate, she still felt that the possibility of that being her ego saying that she was the teacher, I am something. And even in that, she pushed it away. No, no, no. Until Thakur came so emphatically to say, all right, look, this is really me. And this really needs to happen. I haven't initiated him. You have to go and do this. And even gives her the mantra. Holy Mother protested, I do not even speak to Yogin. How can I initiate him? The master asked her to speak to him through Yogin Ma. Yogin Ma learned from Yogin that the master had not given him a mantra. The master had also appeared to Yogin and asked him to receive a mantra from Holy Mother, but he could not bring himself to approach her. Now, this is the intense respect. I don't think as a Westerner, as an American, we just don't have anything equivalent to compare this to. I don't think that there's many people that we've met that we respect so much that we wouldn't talk to them for fear of being presumptuous or improper in it. It's like it's amazing how much respect they all had for each other. When Holy Mother realized that the master had instructed both of them in this manner, she decided to give initiation to Yogin. Yogin Ma recalled the initiation. Holy Mother performed worship in front of the picture and the casket that contains the master's relics. Afterward, she called Yogin and asked him to sit near her. While performing the worship, Holy Mother went into ecstasy, and in that state, she gave initiation. She repeated the mantra so loudly that I heard her from the adjacent room. Thus, Yogin became Holy Mother's first disciple. This was the beginning of a new chapter in her life. That now she is the teacher, and Thakur is working through her to build the order, to build the foundation. This is the new feminism. This is the new divine womanhood. Building the foundation for the order to come. Building the foundation in love and in respect and in humility and in modesty in a way that only Holy Mother could do. and Thakur hiding behind her literally, appearing only to her and saying, okay, go do these things. It's beautiful. It shows the important role that women have in these divine movements, and for us as men to allow that to happen, to stop standing on them, stop pushing them down, and and to find that respect and that humility, to let the divine feminine express in a powerful way, and to define the movement. That's what Thakur, one of the things Vivekananda said that was his major gift to the West, was the idea of God as mother, the divine feminine. He said that we had lived under the thumb as God the Father for too long, but now we need the love and the compassion and the patience and the grace of the divine mother, God as mother. Holy Mother loved the disciples of the Master as her own children. At Vrindavan, there were no fixed times for Latu's meals. He would come at odd hours to Holy Mother or her companions and ask for something to eat. Moreover, he would sometimes share his food with the monkeys, which annoyed the ladies. But Holy Mother knew his childlike nature and asked Lakshmi and Golapman not to scold him. She herself served him. She asked her companions to keep Latu's meals well covered in a certain place, so that he might come at any time and take his meals when he liked. Once he vanished for 3 days, and Holy Mother was terribly anxious. Then suddenly he reappeared. When Holy Mother asked him where he had been, he smiled and said, on the bank of the Jamuna. Then, like a child, he said to the Holy Mother, I'm extremely hungry. Please give me something to eat. She immediately brought some food, and he ate it, and again disappeared. Holy Mother remarked, Latu is strange indeed. Latu recalled, while staying at Vrindavan, Holy Mother would worship the picture of the Master with flowers and other items. She carried with her a tiny round casket containing a bit of the Master's relics. After worshiping his photograph, she used to touch this casket to her forehead, and then with great reverence put it back in its place. One day she touched it to our head as well. This is a wonderful memory. In the Hollywood Temple, they bring out the relics, Thakur's birthday, and will touch the relics to your forehead. All the devotees line up in a line, and Swami Sarvadevananda sits there on the shrine, and everybody comes by one. You bow down in the front, and he touches you on your head with the relics, and you go on. It's just a wonderful ritual, very meaningful one. Holy Mother was very fond of hearing kirtan. Accompanied by Lakshmi and me, she would now and then go to Bhagavanji's ashrama to hear the devotional songs of Krishna. It's almost time. The songs of Krishna. After a month at Vrindavan, Nikunja Devi contracted malaria, so Holy Mother sent her back to Calcutta with Kali. In February of 1887, Holy Mother heard that Ram Datta's daughter had died in a fire, so she sent Latu to him. Latu had previously worked for him. During her stay in Vrindavan, Holy Mother learned that the Dakshineshwar temple authorities had discontinued her pension of 7 rupees per month. She remarked, they have stopped my pension. It's all right. Such a golden master has gone. What would I do with money? And that's where we'll pause for today.